Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. We're going to let you guess who's who here. So, who's Norman and
Who's how you been, Music Man? I know you know what we've been fairly sporadic with the show lately. A lot of things popping up and things happening and people catching COVID. Still, I mean, it's still out there. It's still happening. Things are going on. But with that said, it's glad to be back. And
yeah, it's
we're
nice.
gonna have a few shows this month, right?
Yeah, we're doing this month in June,
In
nice and
June.
crowded.
And so we're actually pleased to be getting everything together. But because our guest was not in the studio last week,
And guess what? And she's not in the studio this week.
So she actually is joining us virtually. We want to jump right into this. We're going to bring on Lisa Rodino.
She's got a lot to say.
A lot of things. We're going to welcome back Lisa Rodino, and a quick shout out to Mark Berlin. Hey, Mark. Lisa from Rodino and Associates. She was here a couple of years ago.
A couple of times she's been on.
A couple of times, right? Lisa, yes. You actually our first show when we did the show in Huntington.
Yes.
That's right. You were the very first show in Huntington with us.
And business must be really good. Your backyard is gorgeous. Really? I mean, where are you living nowadays? I mean, that's really, really nice.
Right. Well, I'll let you know later, right?
Did you make an investment with a finance plan or something?
There you go. We can definitely do some investing, right?
Oh, that's really nice. How big is that pool?
Oh, it's big enough to take a couple of laps and,
Well, that is very nice. Very, very nice. We invited you on the show. You'll have to invite us during the summertime to take a dip.
So, Lisa, tell us about Rodino and Associates, what you guys do, what you're all about, and we're going to get into, because you haven't been here in a while, you're going to get into how you got started. So tell us about Rodino and Associates and what you guys are all about.
Sure. So Rodino and Associates started back in the 2016-ish time frame, and we wanted to be able to serve the unserved communities, being those business owners that are not getting the great offers from their local banks. So many people get turned away because they haven't been in business long enough, or their personal credit is kind of banged up, or they haven't gotten any history or cash flow in their business. So we wanted to be that source to be able to find the right funding for our small business owners. And we've, through the years, we've worked with, those huge money lenders. We can do those multi-tenant buildings downtown Manhattan and get those refinanced with non-recourse lending, all day long. But that doesn't serve that small community. During the pandemic, how many heard about those banks that closed their doors on their small business customers? Mm-hmm. Well, I was serving those folks. Even after the big banks closed their doors on May 15th, I was still writing PPP loans and providing them until the end of May.
How did you get into this business, Lisa?
Well, way back in the 90s, my husband and I owned a residential mortgage company. We were brokers back then for primary resident lending. And we kind of saw the bubble that was on its way. We watched what the values of the prices were in the Detroit metro market. And the values of the pricing of the homes did not match what the mortgage lenders were offering as far as financing. We knew it couldn't sustain itself, so we felt it was the right thing to do to sell everything and go into the private sector for a few years. My husband went into corporate America in New York. That's why we landed on Long Island way back when. Actually, we signed our lease the Friday before 9/11. My husband was at Chase Plaza on 9/11.
Wow.
I was,
so he was right there.
Yeah. Never forget that day. I had gone back to Michigan to close up the house to make our move. And there was no turning back. All the documents were signed. The house was sold in Michigan and the apartment was signed and ready to go in New York. So that's what we did. But fast forward, the kids got older and it was time for me to think about what's my next career step going to be. I'm finished raising kids somewhat, when they hit 16, they can be self-sufficient. And it was time to go back to work. Do I go back to the hospital or do I go into my business again?
So why do what you're doing on Long Island if kids are now grown, right? What made you want to stay here? Let me ask you that question.
Oh, well, I'm an ocean girl. I'm from the state of Maine,
Mhm.
and we always lived on the coast. And when I was in Florida, my parents moved me to Florida at a young age. We were on the West Coast over there. And you fall in love with Long Island. You have the city in your backyard. There's always something to do, and it doesn't matter what cuisine you want. You turn around, you can have it in less than 10 minutes. So
Mhm.
I love the island. And yes, it's overpopulated, but when you're
Highly taxed.
highly taxed, but when you're within your four walls, you have your life, you can live it, and at a drop of a hat, you can be somewhere spectacular. I mean, where can you go when you have the Jones Beach Arena when they're putting their shows on over the summer months? Where can you go when you have Huntington and all the shows that go on up there?
And
You
where
know,
can you go when you have Friend Entertainment putting on concerts all the time? I mean, really.
exactly, exactly. And I hear now and again in Pennsylvania for you, right?
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, all over the East Coast, Norm travels. But enough
Nice.
about Norm. All right.
Okay.
Enough about Norm. We're going to
Uh,
talk about Norm later.
okay.
Uh, here's what I want to know. Why would people go to you? Why is a small business owner, and we're going to be completely transparent here. I've brought Lisa into some of my clients to help them.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Lisa, tell me why I would reach out to you to why didn't I just bring them to a bank? Why didn't I just bring them to, a different, lender? So tell me why I use you.
Well, the those different lenders, do they get the background of your client? Do
Typically
they
not.
learn about their business? You
Typically
know,
not. Yeah.
we like to peel the onion back because the bank may only be able to offer a certain set of products. And they can say, so sorry, see ya, we can't help you. I have the sources to find the right lending products for my clients. And I do the due diligence. I peel the onion back. I just learned about a product today that I'm excited to be able to share with my clients. But first, I need to make sure that this company can perform what they say. So I do the vetting of these companies that I work with.
Now, you
You
and
know,
I met probably around 2016, 2017. We were at
yes.
a network meeting
Hmm.
and we hit it off, and I made a couple of referrals to you and so on. And then I had gotten sick. And when I got out of being sick, which was over a few months, I needed help
Hmm.
because I hadn't worked. My monies had to be given back and what have you. And when I got out of the hospital, who did I call? I called you, and with inside of a week, you had asked me all the questions necessary. We filled out the forms, and inside of a week to maybe two, we were done. And the money was sitting in my bank and yada, yada. So you were very impressive at the meetings. You know your stuff.
Well,
And you
thank you.
always got something new. Like here, I mean, since COVID, I'm sure there's all kinds of new programs and packages and so on
Absolutely.
that have come out. I'm sure you worked with SVOG and the SBA and so on
Mhm.
and so forth, and helping people get some monies for being out of work and
Right.
businesses that needed a shot in the
Yeah.
arm.
Right. Right. I worked with some businesses to get them their PPP. Actually, probably close to 1,000, if not more, loans, PPP loans that I worked on
Thousand.
during the pandemics, during the first phase and the second phase. Um, and then the EIDL, I directed people to where they needed to go. I wasn't going to be compensated for those EIDL loans. I didn't want to take any fees for that. people were struggling, I directed them to who they needed to, and the steps they needed to take to get their EIDL loans. But that wasn't my place to be collecting for that. And we have programs now that during the pandemic, one of my providers realized that small business owners are getting turned away to funding because their personal credit isn't in order or their business credit hasn't been set up. So they started a program to help those small business owners get adjusted so that their personal credit and business credit can be improved.
Now you
And
weren't
so-
able to get a loan for a home in such circumstances, those people that you're talking about. But I've listened on the radio and on TV, there is a company or two that are out there that are taking care of those people. Is that the source that you're talking about?
I'm not sure about who you're.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I don't know who they're referring to.
So obviously that's all tied into you, Lisa. So no, getting back to what you were just talking about, how people's credit wasn't good or their business credit was non-existent. And matter of fact, you helped one of my clients with this.
Mhm.
If same situation, their business credit was non-existent. Their credit was so. They needed to work on it. And one of the things you were able to do was bring a team to that business to help them get set up so they can get the proper funding.
Exactly.
Because you know it as well as I do, and we call them right, getting involved in suicide notes.
Yes.
Right. And,
Yes.
and these are the, hey, we're going to lend you money, but we're going to take money out of your account every day.
Right. Well, technically, we cannot call those loans.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cash advances of your future receivables.
Right.
And those are requiring daily payments. And if you read the fine print, depending on where you're operating your business, you may even be collateralizing your personal residence.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. Call me first. I like to steer people away from those. One of our first clients back in 2016, we had a client in Florida, restaurant owner. They were in those types of products. They had to pay before they paid their staff, got their food in, and paid their rent. They had to make $21,000 in payments per month, but this was daily payments.
Yeah, because typically it's the credit card companies that are lending them the money. Shopify does it, all of these. So be careful out there. It's, that old saying, when it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Yes.
And
I'm not familiar too much with, I know Shopify,
right.
but they're advertising on the radio like crazy now and on TV. What does Shopify really do?
Well, Shopify is an online platform that you can create your own store in, and people can go to that store, buy your products. They'll process the credit cards for you. They'll handle, getting all the information for you for your orders, and then you can go from there. But what Shopify does was they'll go to like the restaurant owners and the retail stores and go, hey, you know what? We see this kind of volume going in. We'll lend you $20,000 or we'll lend you $25,000, but we're going to take 10% of every penny that comes in. We're going to take 10% right off the top.
Is that the actual number?
10% is the number, right? So what people don't realize, they go, that's not so bad. I can pay that back. 10% is a lot. And if it's being taken out on a daily basis, and this is why when we go with more conventional products where we're paying once a month, it's a lot easier to manage your money when you know you only have to deal with one payment. Because if I go and I make a sale today, I don't know if I'm going to make all my sales today, but if I don't make a lot of sales, guess what? They're taking 10% of it anyway, regardless. And now I got payroll. Now I got, all kinds of different things that I got to worry about. This is why I work with Lisa with my clients, because we don't run into that issue. We don't run into that daily issue of, very little cash flow that's coming in, because it really does hurt our.
There aren't many Lisas. With personality. No. Personality fits into this an awful lot. You want to be comfortable. with the person that you're dealing with. Whether it's a doctor, a surgeon, a lawyer, whatever, a finance person, a banker, a consultant, an accountant. You want to be comfortable with those people, and you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I come from the medical field, and I always loved the stories that my patients would give me. And nowadays, it's my clients. I get to hear about what their dreams are, what their plans are, what's happening with their business. Is it suffering right now? Do we need to get that cash injection for them? And, we help them find the way to do that. And one gentleman I spoke with today, he's a locksmith, and he is looking to expand his business, but also stop bootstrapping it, because
Stop what? I'm sorry?
Stop bootstrapping it with his personal credit. He needs to learn to separate his personal and business credit. And we went through his survey today with what the team put together for him. He is ecstatic. He's like, I'm not going to have to do this alone. This is wonderful. So he's going to have a team working with him to help him get the funding he needs at affordable rates so that he can expand and grow his business and always be in a state of readiness for his next opportunity.
Tell me about this
Lisa,
team.
Well, before we do that, Lisa, if somebody wants to reach out to you and get more information about Rodino Associates, how can they do that?
They can go ahead and email me at lisa@rodino.com, or they can give me a call at 516-268-0350. Now, that is an office number, so don't try texting it. Just give me a call.
Yeah, I'm finding that more and more people, they're texting my office number, which they don't realize I don't get those texts.
Right.
Right. And I may get a message 2 or 3 days later that, you have a text message. I don't even know how to retrieve them, to be honest with you, off my phone system. So, let's go back to the days where you picked up the phone and actually called somebody
and spoke to them.
We would love to do that, especially in matters of finance. You really need to have that conversation, because it, Lisa, is, I'm in the same type of business with dealing with people's money.
Yeah.
You learn more from a conversation than people realize, because you have those side conversations. You talk about those little things that go on, and you go, he needs this, he needs that, or she needs this and she needs that, and it helps you get clarity as to what their picture really is.
Right.
What's the team?
Well,
I don't remember you having a team. Tell me
What are
about
you
it.
talking about? She had a daughter working for her.
But that was her daughter. That's not a team.
That's part of her team. She had
That's
Grab
part of
her
my
brand a little bit, please.
That's part of the team. But I also, I also outsource when it's necessary. I align myself with people that do right for my clients. I make introductions to folks that, help the process along for business funding. One of the teams I have does this business credit building program. They also have a team that we can bring in that can bring favorable, or should I say, wholesale pricing for personal credit remediation. And we can get that team in there to.
Did you say aviation?
What's that?
Did you say aviation?
No, I did
You
not
said
say
personal credit for?
personal credit remediation to repair the credit.
You gotta tune those.
Yeah. Gotta do something. Told you it wasn't working.
No, we're not going aviation today, or not yet.
Well, we're going to introduce you to Darren.
Yes, I know.
Him and his pilot license.
Well, as you know, Lisa was also in the Civil Air Patrol.
Yes.
So that's how we originally know each other.
Yes.
Even before
we were in business, I was in business. I knew Darren, and that was because of my son, who was interested in aviation. And I ended up having to become a deputy commander over at the Civil Air Patrol over in Nassau County.
That's how they get sucked in. They bring their kids and then we suck them in.
That's right. And I did that for many years. And now Luigi is working at Ronald Reagan Airport as an aviation mechanic. So it worked out
Nice.
well for him.
Very cool. Yeah, we had that conversation not too long ago, Lisa, about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. You know, it's funny how small the world is and how
Especially
people
in
get to know.
aviation.
Yes, exactly, especially in aviation. So if
Especially.
you want to talk about aviation, we can do that.
No, you time to sit here listening. This is very cool for me. I'm just
Yeah.
mellowing out here.
So Lisa, let me give you a scenario,
Okay.
all right, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And then you give me some suggestions on types of products you may recommend.
Okay.
All right. Got a retail store.
Okay.
All right. Uh, margins are okay. The retail store makes a little bit of money every year, but not a lot. The store owner does make a salary, but nothing great. They're finding that they're always playing that catch up game with cash.
Okay.
All
1
right.
minute. The
Mhm.
owner has a salary. He's compensating himself with the business with a W-2.
Yes.
Good.
All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
But it's not huge, right? So
Okay.
it's not, say it's about $60,000 a year. We'll just use that number. Okay.
Okay. That's okay.
Uh, at the end of the day, when you look at his tax returns, doesn't the profit is minimal at best, but there is a little bit of profit. But he always feels like he's playing this game of waiting for the sales to come in to buy the product, and bills are late because payments are late from getting the sales in, and all of these things popping up, and he's looking for some kind of line of credit,
Mm-hmm.
right? That when he needs to lean on it, he can pull from it and then pay it back, and pull from it and pay it back.
Yep.
But his credit rating is like a 650.
Okay.
All right. Maybe let's go a little bit lower, like a 625.
That's okay.
575 next.
Wait, you know what? Just last week, the same program that our friend is on, we took a gentleman that had a bankruptcy in his recent past. He's now in the program working through to get his business funding
Mm-hmm.
and
So,
also a credit repair for his personal.
okay, and that's fantastic, and that's kind of my point in this whole thing is that
Yep.
because we have so many, I run into so many business owners. This year we brought on a number of new clients, and believe it or not, half of them said to me, I was afraid to start working with you because I was ashamed of the way my business was running.
Uh,
Right?
and
Which,
and that's why I'm the judgment-free zone.
well, I'm the same way.
We all have hiccups in life, and you're not going to know what I know about
Mhm.
any client because that's their business.
Yep.
Norman, no one would know that you worked with me had you not said it. That's not my place to share.
And I've said it a lot because I've been very pleased and very happy with what you did, and I think that you deserve to be known that way.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so now going back to my scenario.
Yes.
All right, they're looking. They don't want a loan. They want like a line of credit.
Okay.
How do you go about getting that for them, or getting them into a program that could lead to a line of credit?
Well, it starts with a conversation. Let's have that conversation. Let me ask them some questions. Let me, learn where they are and where their mindset is. Are they going to be open to having someone direct them down the path to success? I've had to fire a client because they didn't want to take the proper steps, and it was like, no, you're not going to work with this. This is not going to be beneficial for you. It'll just stress you out and stress my team out. No. But let's see what the mindset is. We start with a soft pull of the credit, see where that falls. We put together a few questions. I send it to my team. They'll create a survey. If they find that the survey is agreeable and they want to go through the program, then we start with the next steps.
So what type of, I mean, do you have lines of credit that you could get for your clients? Or
Yes.
is it, because typically line of credit, when people says line of credit, they think of a bank, right?
You
And being
think of
able
a
to draw
bank.
it down from bank.
Right. And when we put people through the program to help their personal credit remediation, as well as build their business credit, our teams are going across the US to meet with banks to find out what kind of programs they have, what kind of offerings are they bringing to their clients. You know, I was speaking with a gentleman today, and that's what he's doing. You know, he'll hear online that somebody's getting offers from a bank that was open 2 months ago. Well, we're going to find out what their deal is. Are
Right.
they offering lines of credit? How can we get our clients signed up for this? That's what we do. So not only do you have yourself working on your stuff, you've got a team behind you that's just supporting you and getting you some really nice results.
So it's just not, like I said before, you lining people up for suicide notes. You're really trying to take care of the client to make sure that they don't do that.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And the reason why I call them suicide notes is because and my feeling is once you get into it, it's so hard to get out of it.
It's a great term.
It
really is. It explains itself.
Yeah.
Suicide note. I mean, you're killing yourself.
Right.
But
Well,
that's not how it's presented to them, right? More times than not, the client is in distress. They need cash. They need it right away. And they get somebody come up, oh, we got this great program. And all they see is, I'm getting this money up front. They don't see the ramifications of what they're getting.
Lisa did something very interesting with me, with something that I never thought would happen. She was involved with a not-for-profit organization that loaned money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of anything like that. A not-for-profit organization that actually went and loaned money to people.
And that's what I'm gonna get into next. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the type of lenders that Lisa works with and how vast her network is. All right. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friend Entertainment USA. My name is Norman Wasserman. I am also known as the Music Man. Let me just tell you a little bit about Friend Entertainment. We put on concerts for charities, and we do that everywhere from New York to Las Vegas. We do R&B, Motown, rock and roll, jazz, whatever it is that you wish. Friend Entertainment will deliver the best of the best for you and your charity. Here are some of the names of the talent that have performed with us on our stage. Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, The Temptations, Earth, Wind and Fire, the one and only ELO, Elton John himself, Kool and the Gang, and the fabulous Donna Summer. Go to our website, friendentusa.com. That's www.friendentusa.com, or feel free to call us at 631-698-9696. 631-698-9696, and we'll see you at the next show.
Coming on the Business Power Hour gives you something that you don't normally get with your typical advertising on the internet.
Or in the newspaper.
Right?
None of that stuff.
You get thousands of viewers who see the show every week, not only locally, but nationally and internationally.
For a very nominal fee. Actually, we did it and we broke it down. It will actually cost you 0.75 cents per view that you get. That's it. All right, so if you're interested in being a guest on the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, please give me a call at 631-698-9696 or email me at norman@friendentusa.com or call Darren at...
You can call me at... Aquata, also known as the money tree, is a tree that flourishes in the tropical rainforest. Unlike other trees, it depends on 5 separate trunks to prosper, each one bringing its own share of water and nutrients to the leaves. Like the money tree, your business has many different trunks that need your attention. sales, marketing, finance, operations, and culture. Fail to cultivate any one of these and the whole tree collapses. I understand this better than anyone else, which is why I developed My Prosperity Tree, a program designed to address all of these areas, not just one or two. We help you identify who you are as a company, define your direction, and assist with developing the systems that will enable you to scale your business the most efficient and effective way, allowing your company to bloom into your own prosperity tree. So plant your tree today by visiting myprosperitytree.com or call us at 844-987-CBMS. That's 844-987-2267.
Howdy, Ted Vigil here. I'll be performing my tribute to John Denver at the Belmore Theater in Belmore, Long Island, New York on May 7th at 7:30 p.m. Come join me and sing along to John Denver's greatest hits. For tickets, go to friendentusa.com. That's friendentusa.com. Or you can call Norman at 631-698-9696. All right, we'll see you there. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear the voice in the morning hours.
Welcome back to the Business Powwow with Darren and the Music Man. We were carried away, but John Denver. You know.
So if anybody has any questions for Lisa or wants to know more, and I'm speaking to Darren Zena out there, because I know he's watching tonight. Call in at 631-619-7500. That's 631-619-7500. The line, the studio lines are now open. I hope.
Me too.
I didn't turn it on, so now the studio lines are open.
No wonder.
No, we're all good now. We're all good. So, Lisa, before the break, right? Norm started talking about some of the sources that you have for funding, right? So obviously, banks are typically the hardest people to do business with when you're trying to help these small businesses that don't have a lot of history or don't have very solid numbers behind them, right?
Right.
So when you're working with a company, well, where are you getting this money from? Like you said before, that you reach out to these newer banks and and all these other things, but there's got to be other people. So who are you getting this money from?
Right. Well, we work with non-bank SBA lenders are on my list. I have private lenders that also make capital available for business owners. You name it, we're going to source it. We have asset-based options with, I have the AR providers and the PO providers and the, even medical AR, construction AR. Those are all sources that I have to get that cash flow open. Like I have a gentleman down in Florida that has a contract for a HUD project. He needs his startup $50,000. We're working on getting him that. He already has his first invoice. He's going to have to lean on some invoice and factoring to get started. But as soon as that's done, he'll have the capital coming in after each round of funding for him. So every month he'll get his capital that he needs to sustain his staff and keep the project moving. And after that project is done for the HUD, he already has another airport hangar that he's going to be working on down in Florida. And you ask where I source the money? Sometimes it is with local banks. I had one gentleman that we did his SBA loan last year. This gentleman's history, he had 2 bankruptcies in his history.
Wow.
He did not have experience in the industry he was purchasing the business in. He owned a vape shop online.
Bankruptcy, did she say?
The two bankruptcies, plus he was buying a business that he knew nothing about.
Nothing about.
Yep.
Right.
But he was a business owner he had a vape shop.
Okay.
And he knew the industry with all the new laws coming out with the government. He knew that was going to start failing. So he decided, no, I am going to, work on something else. He found something that was going well. He wanted to purchase it. We got him funded with
Wow.
an SBA loan.
With an SBA loan.
SBA.
See, that's amazing because SBA loans tend to be the most difficult to get.
Absolutely.
Right.
But when you have the right folks that are interested and are willing to peel back the onion and learn the story of the gentleman or the prospect that is looking for the loan, find out how hardworking they are, find out what they do to make sure they have the funds they need, find out what the story was with those bankruptcies and get comfortable with the gentleman.
You just made a great point, right? When you're going for a loan or you're going for credit, your story does matter.
Yes.
And what you tell does matter. It's just not a matter of filling out the forms. You got to tell your story.
Now, I got to ask a question about that, though. That you got to reach a certain kind of person that is willing to listen to these stories. People look to buy a car. If you have bad credit with a car, to get a bank loan from a car, what are you supposed to do? They want to charge you a ridiculous amount of money to go get this automobile that you need to go to work and do whatever you got to do. They're notorious. So how do you find a car dealer that's going to listen to your story?
Well, I'm not in that private car space, so that's a difficult one for me. But most people can access lending for cars.
It's a real easy way, especially when you have very bad credit. It's a real easy way to get really expensive funding because it becomes very expensive. The worse your credit rating is, they'll get you the car.
Right.
You got to remember, the sales guy just wants to make the sale. So he's going to, hey, I can get you a loan, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. But he won't get into all the details that you need to get into and really dig into what you're all about, like Lisa will. Wow. So it looks like we got a phone call right now. So let's take the call.
Good evening and welcome to the Business Powwow with Darren and the Music Man. May I ask who's calling?
Hello, this is Ted.
Hey, Ted.
Ted Vigil?
It's Ted Vigil.
Hey, Ted. How are you?
Welcome to the Business Powwow. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know who Ted Vigil happens to be, but he is our guest artist on Saturday night. He is John Denver in every way, form, whatever you think. He is the man.
As a matter of fact, Ted, we just played your commercial that you made for the show this weekend. And I can tell you, man, you look just like him. You sound just like him. It's just amazing.
Excellent. I'm so excited for the show. I'm actually in Plainview, Texas right now on my way to do a show. I'm going to be on stage in 20 minutes from right now.
Are you really?
And you took the time to call us. That was very nice of you. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for calling in, Ted. We really appreciate that. And I'm really looking forward to having you on Long Island this weekend. So that's a little bit of a trip, Plainview, Texas, all the way to Long Island, huh?
It's a little bit of a trip.
How many
not too far.
How many shows do you do a year, Ted?
Oh, I'm going to say right about 100 to 115.
Shows a year. Are they just in the States or are they around the world?
I've been to Australia twice. Good on you, mate. Twice.
Good day.
I've been there twice. 6-week tour with Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash tributes. They called it the Kings of Country. It was a lot of fun. So I've been all over the place.
So Ted, if I could ask you, I don't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you this question: why John Denver? What made you want to be John Denver? Other than
Who was he
looks
going to be?
like-
Elvis Presley?
No, you don't know. But why? How did you get into being a cover person for John Denver?
Yeah, okay, here's the long story short. It was meant to be. I started pursuing it and I could not stop it. I did a contest in Laughlin, Nevada, singing rock and roll. I met people that knew John personally. They said, man, you should think about doing a tribute. You look so much like John and your voice is very similar and people miss him and they miss his music. And I said, I believe that. And there's not really anybody out there doing it back then. So at any rate, long story short, I could not stop it. It just went from one turn to the next. I toured with Steve Weisberg, John Denver's lead guitar player, then all over the States. And it's great to keep this music alive.
I tell you what, from what I've seen, Ted, you are amazing.
And we're going to
You
keep
really
this
are.
music alive Saturday night at 7:30 at the Belmar Theater. And if you're looking for tickets and you can't get a hold of Eventbrite, call me, the Music Man, at 631-698-9696, and we will hook you up and we'll have you meet Mr. John Denver, Ted Vigil, on Saturday night at 7:30.
Yeah,
All right.
it's going to be a fun time.
Thanks,
Definitely.
Ted. Thanks for calling up.
Thanks for calling in, Ted, and
Have a great show.
Have a great show tonight. We'll see you this weekend.
Great. Sounds good. We'll see you soon. All
right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Can you get
Wow,
him?
that was-
Get him alone?
Depends on what he's looking for.
150 shows a year.
You said 115. You gotta get that adjusted.
No, he said 130 to 150.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yes.
Okay, I gotta get my ear all set up.
Gotta turn him up there, Darren.
That's it. So we got a call in from Ted Vigil. That was pretty cool.
That was nice.
That was definitely cool. It was nice of him to call in. So now getting back to Lisa, the real star of this show. So, we got a couple of comments on Facebook that because your last name ends in a vowel, that, there are a lot of things that go along with some of these loans that you get involved in. But I can tell you, I've personally, recommended Lisa. My clients have used Lisa. I've had her work with a few clients that really needed her help, and she was very successful in helping them. To the point where they've actually changed, they've turned their own lives around from a financial standpoint instead of bootstrapping it all the time. Because what happens when a business owner bootstraps, they not only bootstrap their business, they bootstrap their personal lives. And they're always chasing that money. And they're always they never have enough. It goes to, a Parkinson's law. See no Parkinson when he talks about if you have resources, whatever resources you have, you're going to utilize every one of them. And the more money we make, the more money we spend. We hear that all the time. The more money we make, the more money we spend. And we never have enough. So it's really disciplining yourself and getting yourself into the right framework. And you said mindset before, Lisa, right?
Yes.
It's important to be in the right mindset. And you said there was a couple of clients you had to fire. You had to say, hey, you know what? We're not going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure, and tell us a little bit about that story. When somebody comes to you and they're like, you say, okay, in order for this work for you, this is what we need to do. And then they buck the system as you're going along.
Right. And we're not going to tolerate that. If you're going to be nasty to my team, or if you're going to say, well, no, I can't do that, or I won't do that, we are not going to be able to help because you've put yourself in a situation. We have the tools to get you out of it. If you're not willing to take the hard steps to correct the wrongs that put you where you are, how are we going to be able to help? I can get you capital. No, I can get you capital. And if you're going to go the hard route, we're going to have to look at that hard money. And hard money is a tough place to
They call it hard money for a reason.
Exactly. That's when the vowel pops up.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I, like maybe there have been times when, yes, someone has come and said, "Oh yeah, I need the money. I just need it for, getting that liquor license in place, and then I won't need it anymore." And then it's like, "Are you sure? We have other avenues we can pursue. Do you have a credit partner? Do you have somebody that has a better, credit rating? Maybe we could bring them in and get you some affordable stuff." "Oh no, I need it. I need it now."
So they
Okay.
get a new partner. So by
Yeah.
doing that, they have a new partner.
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing, and I think this is what you're really, I'm sure I just want to extrapolate on what you're saying, Lisa. Using big words now.
Yeah, I was very surprised with that one.
Whoa.
Very nice. Michelle give you that one?
No.
Education comes out.
I got a story about that word for that, but that's another day. But you're right. It's not a matter of I'm coming to Lisa to get funding. I'm coming to Lisa because she's going to become my partner in making sure that I do it the right way and I get the right funding. And what a lot of business owners don't even realize, because I encourage all my business owners to have some kind of backup financing, even if they don't need it right now. Now's the time to get it if you don't need it.
Right.
Because, you're going to get those times. And, I have one of my clients watching tonight, and I'm just going to bust his horns a little bit. So when you want to buy that new truck or that new trailer or, that new car, the money is there. Right. And you're able to say, hey, you know what, let me borrow against this line. I have X number of dollars and I can just grab this off this line and be able to get that new truck for my business or, things like that. So we can keep this thing moving and moving forward. But to have them all the time, it makes you sleep better.
Oh,
It
of
makes me
course.
sleep better.
Absolutely.
Knowing that if all of a sudden my office blew up tomorrow and we couldn't service our
You're
clients
okay.
and we weren't going to get paid, I could survive. I can get through it. And it's so important to be able to do that.
Right. And imagine positioning yourself that you can make that purchase of that truck on your business credit and have it never reflect on your personal
credit. Yep.
That's key.
It's also very important. This is regarding all of us. I mean, the three of us that are having this conversation, it's called referrals. If we do well by people, people will recommend us to other people.
Yes.
And that's so when you have these people that make loans, or whether it be a bank or a financial institution, whatever, if they do well by you, you're going to go back again. You're going to recommend them. And then you got the customer who came to you and you did well by him or her, and now they're recommending you. I'm the perfect example. I recommend you all the time. Darren's a different story, but I recommend you, all.
Darren's a different. No, Lisa, she's got a list of people that I've referred over to her that she's worked with. So,
Absolutely.
and when I did call her office, other people did answer the phone. And I did work with her staff on a few of my clients. Her team. Absolutely. So, I know she has a team and I know what it is in there. And I tell you what, she's a great referral partner.
Absolutely.
We work together and we're always looking to help each other.
Absolutely.
And those type of things. So Lisa,
Yes.
we're getting towards the end, believe it or not. All right. As you know, time flies
It does.
and we love doing this show and we love having you on. But if for any startup businesses, what piece of advice would you give them?
Don't give up your day job or your W-2 income before you have your business positioned and set up for funding. We can get you more funding when you have your personal credit in order. And yes, a verifiable income will definitely help your business. Let's get get your business going. You can work it on the side while you still have your job. Let's get that in order so that when you have opportunities, you are in that constant state of readiness.
But you can only do that with certain businesses. I mean, if a person's going to open up a retail store, he can't keep his day job someplace else and still have a retail store.
Well, actually, no. I have a couple of business owners who actually have a full-time job somewhere else, and they're able to run a business because they set it up properly. They have the right people in the field doing the work that needs to be done, and they have multiple employees, and they do a great job at it. You know, and they started the same way, where I'm not going to give up my W-2 until I'm solid in this. Well, you know what? That company now is 7 or 8 years that they've been in existence. They have multiple employees, and he still has kept his W-2 job.
Yeah.
And you know, and he does fantastic with it.
Right.
He's done a really good job with it.
Right. And I'm currently working with a gentleman that's active Air Force. He has real estate throughout the U.S. and he's looking for his next venture. He's looking for a business that is not required to have the owner there. So he's doing his exploration, getting his funding in place because he's not giving up his active duty position for another 5 years. He's not giving up his pension. He's a career man. So we're working on getting him aligned so that he can be ready for when he does find that right business.
And you know what? I find a lot of military people have multiple properties throughout the country. And that's mostly because when they get stationed somewhere, they'll buy one house and they'll say, instead of selling it, they'll go, you know what? I'll just make it a rental property. And more times than not, they can rent it out to other military personnel. So they're not
that's a great idea.
that worried. And I have a few clients that are retired military and they have properties all over the country. And that's how they accumulated their properties. And they would just go from one state to the next, buy a property. And then when they needed to move on to their next station, you know, that's what they did. It was pretty amazing how that works.
Lisa, since COVID hit, are there any new rules or regulations or opportunities for people to call you on to discuss with you that weren't there before, which maybe makes things a little bit easier for them to get this loan or to have a startup situation going on for themselves?
Sure. I mean, it's just the programs that I have now that can help get those businesses positioned. We also have, those unsecured lines. Those are key for many of the small business owners. So long as their personal credit is in order, we can get them those traditional lines of credit so that they can breathe easy with their business and, work their business as they need. Is it new since COVID? Not really, but it's more focused upon now because a lot of those lenders that like those daily things, a lot of them closed down during COVID. They were not performing well because they had a lot of failures coming in.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. COVID kind of changed the landscape a little. I'm not going to say it changed it a lot initially, but it's kind of coming back to where it was.
It is. Even the real estate investing folks, some of them had to shut down. And yes, they're coming back now and coming back with a mean run right now. I actually have a program that we can get you 100% financing on a purchase for a repair. And they're doing, if you have experience, they'll do 100% financing for you. So
well, that's the thing is experience. It comes down to there's always a lot of different factors and what you can do and how you can do it. So one more time, Lisa, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
They can give me a call at 516-268-0350, or you can email me at lisa@rodino.com and check us out on fitufinance.com or rodino.com.
You can call your company FUF.
Yeah.
We have to leave with a smile and a joke. Fuff.
So, Lisa, thank you for being
Lisa
on the
Rodino
show.
from Fuff.
Lisa, thank you for being on the show. You're always a great guest.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and we look forward to
We
having
have fun with
back
you.
on. We definitely had fun.
Yeah.
Stick around. I'm going to throw you back in the green room. We're going to wrap up, and then
Okay.
we'll catch up right after
Hang
that.
in there.
Great.
All right,
Thanks
thanks,
for having
Lisa.
me, guys.
You
All
should
right.
have her at least once a month.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, she's a great
terrific.
conversation. She's really good.
Oh, I
And
know
you
what I meant to ask her.
What?
You know the story last time she told us about how her family was involved in McDonald's with potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you hear the story that they found a bag of McDonald's French fries?
Okay.
The house was built in 1959 or whenever, around the same time that McDonald's
Right.
opened up, and it was buried behind a board. And they took it out, and it looked exactly like you wanted to eat it. It was fresh. It didn't rot. It didn't do anything.
Give me a break.
No, it's really exactly what it is. I'm telling you, if you Google it, Google French fries McDonald's, everybody. See what I'm talking about.
You're insane.
I'm not insane. This thing happened.
All right, guys. So like we said, we've got a lot of shows coming up this month. Unfortunately, I'll be traveling next week, so I'm not going to be around. We're not going to have a show next week, but I will run a show so you guys can see a repeat. Maybe we'll repeat this show, and then we get Lisa's show out
that'd be
there
nice.
again. But you know, tune in next week. You guys want to catch a repeat of some of the things that we do, but we will be back not on the 17th, okay, but on the 18th, Wednesday the 18th, we will be on. And then we're going to have a number of different shows. They're going to be coming like
Very interesting occupations these people will have too.
Yes, it's all great stuff. We can't wait to really get this thing rolling again, and you know, we're looking forward to it.
What do you think about John Richardson? You think
John-
he's ready to come on the show?
I don't know, maybe John.
I know he sent us a lot of mails
John,
tonight.
we have
So.
this very fancy studio, CBMS Studios. As a matter of fact, Darren's in it, is responsible for the lighting in the studio. He's done a great job with that.
Check. He's the producer, director, creative thing. He's everything.
He's everything.
You'll read the lines at the end of the show.
So big shout outs. Darren's in. Brian Cohen actually said hi, Lisa. So you know,
And James Ciaffi. Hey
and
guys.
my brother Jimmy.
Hi Jim.
All right, Mark Berlin, as always. Mark's always there. I'm sure Eileen is watching. Eileen, feel better. Eileen's got COVID.
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah.
So Eileen, feel better. You know, we
All
love
the
you.
best to you.
All right, and everybody, have a safe week. We'll see you in 2 weeks right here.
Live, but we'll see you recorded next week.
Right. We'll see you here in 2 weeks.
Saturday night, 7:30. If you're interested, John Denver, 631-698-9696. Give me a call.
All right, everybody. Have a good week.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.